Hey everyone, really quick before I talk about Spider-Man Far From Home, I just want to let you know that there are Endgame spoilers ahead. Seriously, this movie exists because of Endgame, so I'm warning you now. But it's been out for like over a month, so hopefully you've seen it by now. If you haven't and don't want spoilers for Endgame, then don't watch this video. If you want to know how Far From Home is, it's good, but watch it after you've seen Endgame. Okay? We good? Alright, now I can talk about this movie. Holy sh! I really love Spider-Man. I love the games, TV shows, snacks, merchandise, comics, the movies, except those. I just really love Spider-Man. I don't need to explain myself. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I actually had a hard time reviewing this movie. Even after watching it twice, I was still processing. I knew I liked it, but I wasn't sure how much. Or if I even liked it at all. It was very hard for me to put my feelings into words. Part of why it took so long putting this video out was because when writing this review, I just was not satisfied with any results I was getting. So I'm gonna try my best here. Let's talk about what I liked. I love the way this movie handled the events of Endgame. It took a very serious and emotional event and made it something to laugh at without being disrespectful. Endgame was wild, so yeah, give me a reason to laugh at it. Now, like I mentioned earlier, you can't watch this movie without seeing Endgame or you will be confused. Could you imagine? You'd come out of this movie like, oh man, that was a really good movie, but I don't get why everyone was so sad that Tony was out on vacation. See what I'm getting at? If Peter wasn't affected by the events of Endgame, then I would have been really mad. This movie focuses on the fact that there is no more Iron Man, that the Avengers are gone. Peter's really the only one in action right now, and I love what they did with Peter in this movie. I loved him in Homecoming, and I really love him here. Peter just can't get what he wants in this movie, and this is par for the course with the character. Everyone is telling Spider-Man that he's gonna be the next Iron Man, but Peter doesn't really want that at all. He just wants to hang out with MJ and tell her how he feels. Far From Home does a good job of making the audience aware that Peter is very down to earth, metaphorically. Although yeah, he's not in space anymore either. If you ask me, this is the most important thing they needed to have in this movie to stay true to the character. Part of why you love Spider-Man in the comics is because he's still just like everyone else. He'll save the city countless times and save the universe on multiple occasions, but guess what? He's still gotta pay rent.
Rent? Hi. Hi. What's hi? Can I spend it?
He's still got his day job, and this movie does that kind of concept so well that he has way too much on his plate. Peter struggles a lot in this movie as a superhero and with everyday problems of being a teenager in high school, but it's not in a way that's frustrating to watch. Nothing seems too easy for him either. He's just trying to hustle and make things work. Another thing too is that just like in the comics, Peter makes a lot of mistakes and he's punished for them. But again, these mistakes are all believable. At no point do you roll your eyes at Peter for what he did. He still has to live with the consequences. On top of that, he figures all of this out on his own. Yeah, he gets a little bit of help here and there, but nobody actually saves him. This movie focuses on Peter coming to grips with Iron Man's death and getting out of his shadow. I really loved his whole struggle with what he's going to do about people saying he's the next Iron Man. To Peter, Iron Man was the unattainable dream, and he just can't live up to those expectations. But that doesn't stop him from playing his part and doing the right thing. I'll be honest, I felt personally attacked while watching this movie. You wanna know why? Because I was relating to it way too much. Not literally, but the way the characters think and respond in this really awkward, clumsy manner without being annoying was just too real.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
Another thing I liked was Zendaya. I wasn't sure what to think of her in Homecoming because she was so weird, and since she was hardly in the movie, I didn't really have much of an opinion on her. But in Far From Home, she's really fleshed out. I actually really like her here. She's this cute, quirky, awkward teenager that reacts very, very well to Peter. These two actually have great chemistry. This is actually a very rare occasion where I was rooting for these two to get together throughout the entire movie. If their relationship didn't work, then this movie would not work at all. Next up is Jake Gyllenhaal. This guy was just awesome. Seriously, I can't express this enough. He absolutely killed it as Mysterio. He's supposed to be like this role model that Peter can bounce off of, and their interactions are really incredible. They just work well together, so I hope we see more of him in future movies. That's all I can say without getting into spoilers. Now, if you watched my previous videos, you know that I love when Marvel does wild, weird stuff, and this movie gets absolutely insane. I can't go into it for spoiler reasons, but just know as a huge Spider-Man fan, I really don't think they could have put some of these key scenes into a film any better. The action sequences of this movie got me so pumped up. This movie definitely has some of the best Spider-Man action sequences to date. Spider-Verse was a perfect Spider-Man movie without a doubt, but Far From Home has the best Spidey action scenes since the train scene in Spider-Man 2. Another thing Far From Home does right is that it is extremely well paced. there's always something going on, whether it's with Peter in his normal life or as Spider-Man. The dude really can't catch a break. This movie isn't perfect though, unfortunately. There are some flaws, but not too much. The main problem I had was the ADR in this movie. It was extremely awkward. Sometimes the characters' mouths don't match what you hear, or someone's voice will just fade out really abruptly. I noticed the first time watching it and I was kind of confused and it threw me off a lot, but it was very apparent during my second viewing, so it's very noticeable. The next problem is a bit more minor and I can't even talk about it too much because it is a spoiler, so I'm just gonna say that there is one thing that Homecoming did way better than Far From Home. That's all I can say there. I'm just gonna stop myself. That's really all there is to it. Like I said, this is a hard movie for me to talk about. I'm gonna have to give this movie a 9 out of 10. Truly amazing. I want to give this movie a 10. I really do, but I can't. It's not perfect, but it's very close. I just really love this movie. It gets so much right about my favorite superhero of all time. This is without a doubt one of the best Spider-Man movies out there, and I personally can't wait for more. Also, there are 2 post-credit scenes, so if you haven't seen the movie, stick around for both post-credit scenes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. I do have another Spidey project in the works, so feel free to subscribe and stay tuned. If you want to know how I felt about some of the other Marvel movies, definitely feel free to check out my other reviews. Thank you so much once again, and I hope you have a wonderful day.